So I had bought this fabric a long time ago and I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it, but I think I found a pretty great project for it. So I'm cutting the fabric to a size of paper a little larger than 8.5 by 11 so it'll be easier to print later on. Now I'm taking the screen that I'd made in a previous video, check that out if you haven't seen it, and I'm taking painter's tape to tape up any holes or edges that didn't get coated with emulsion. It's easier to clean the screen if you do this step. So here I'm taping down the fabric I had cut before so it will stay in place once the first color goes on. And just like any printing, you want to go from lightest color to darkest color. And since this is only 2 colors, I'm printing the blue first. After you swipe the screen to lay down your print, you'll want to go back with the ink to flood your screen. This helps prevent the ink from drying in the screen and also preps the screen for the next swipe. I forgot a pretty important step in between printing the 2 colors, and that is to dry the first color with either a heat gun or a flash dryer so I don't get a mess on the second screen from the first color. I don't show that here because of time, but trust me, it did get pretty messy between prints. But now I have a 2-color printed piece of custom fabric that I can do whatever I want to with, like make an ornament. So there you have it. And now I'm just showing a close-up of the same process because it's cool, and who doesn't like cool things? First the blue goes down, and we're going swipe, 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 swipe. There you go. And then, you guessed it, the black. So anyway, you get it. So I printed that, and then I also have some lines hung in my studio where I hung these to dry overnight. Now I'm cutting some double-sided adhesive to the size of the red fabric and heat setting it to the fabric with my iron. I'm peeling the fabric away from the paper with the shiny side or adhesive side of the fabric showing. I place the adhesive side of the fabric down on a Cricut cutting mat and set the program to cut the fabric. Now you can see I've cut a lot of the same shapes, which will make sense in a second. I'm peeling the fabric away from the Cricut cutting mat, and now I have a lot of these Y shapes. I'm placing the cut fabric over the printed sheets so these snowmen now have scarves. I'm just pressing the iron on the sheets to heat set the appliques, and I'm taking an orange Sharpie and coloring in the snowman's carrot nose. I take the sheets to my sewing machine and sew along the edge of the applique scarf to keep it in place. I wasn't really thrilled with how this looked after my first few tries, so I found some different stitches to applique them on after. Now I'm just cutting the red backs for the ornaments to the same size as the front of the ornament. My sewing machine has some programmable features, so I ended up using this to embroider the back of the ornaments with a year and a couple of snowflakes. I used some scrap fabric to stabilize the embroidery, and I'm just cutting that away so it looks a little better once it's finished. And now I'm just cutting apart the fronts of the snowman so they are all individual squares. I piece them right sides facing with a piece of jute cord in the middle to act as the string to hang them. Now I'm sewing them all together and leaving an inch open on one side, and I'm just trimming up the dog ears now and any extra material that will make these bulky if it's left as is. Okay, and now I am turning the ornaments right side out, and I'm just using a skewer from the kitchen to poke the corners out so they are, look like pillows. And then I'm pressing them again just to set the seams. And now I'm stuffing the ornaments with some fiberfill, and once they are stuffed with a good amount of stuffing, it takes a lot of stuffing. Like much more stuffing than you would think that it would take. Just a little bit more. Anyway, so now I'm hand sewing them closed with an invisible stitch. I'm not really great or used to hand sewing, so it wasn't perfect, but it got the job done. And it's kind kind of complicated to get a hang of it, but I'm just trimming off the edge there. And now I have a ton of these really cute snowman pillow ornaments to give away as holiday gifts. So anyway, as always, thanks for watching. And to see another video related to this project or similar to this project, click on one of the links here. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks.